I am Tex. I am Lieutenant Alan Tex Alcock, former Aussie fighter pilot who flew for the Yanks in the Battle of the Pacific off the aircraft carrier, the USS Enterprise, the mighty Big E, the CV-6. I am honoured to make this presentation for my Yank friends of the USS Midway Veterans Association and the USS Midway Museum. I am a member of the both organisations and proud of it. I am also a life member of the USS Enterprise, the CV-6 Association, the carrier I flew off the Battle of the Pacific shooting down Japs, and we hit them hard. I wish I could be there in person with you to experience the sights and sounds of the Battle of Midway in the great theatre aboard the museum. I am proud to have made a donation to the USS Midway Veterans Association of 3,000 Australian dollars, money that is go towards completion and preservation of the Battle of Midway theatre at the museum. I am 88 years old. I live with my lovely wife Avril, known in the US as Rusty, in Canberra, Australia. My father, Sidney Walter Alcock, Big Sid, was born in Daniel, Wyoming, USA, and moved to Glenrothes, Australia in 1917 to pursue a career in electrical engineering. He met and married my mum, Ada Cartwright, at Glenrothes the same year, but it wasn't until 10 years later that I was born on March 28, 1927. Yes, my dad was 100% Yank, so that makes me half a Yank in my book, and proud of it. Between 1927 and 1941, as a young boy growing up, I tried to balance my schooling and my love for flying. Flying won out. I learned to soar like a bird at the early age at the College of Civil Aviation at Mascot, Australia, with my dad and mum's strong support and a training of my flight instructor, Mr. Hungerford, in a 6-cylinder Tiger Moth. It was at Mascot that I met my two pilot mates, Jack Heggie and Trevor Green. In 1941, I achieved my goal and was awarded my wings. So at the age of 15, I was a pilot. Then the Japs attacked the Yanks at Pearl Harbor, a dirty, sneaky attack, and everything changed in a hurry. President Franklin D. Roosevelt made an urgent request for Australia fighter pilots to support the Yanks against the Japs in the Battle of the Pacific. We answered the call, for Australia had always been a great ally with the US. 35 of us, Aussie pilots, volunteered to fly with the Yanks in the Battle of the Pacific. Most of us were kids, but none of us were members of the RAAF because we were too young to join. I was only 15, but I lied about my age and became 21 so that I could fly. We trained in Hawaii and then to San Diego, logging 150 hours apiece, learning to land and take off on an aircraft carrier, and how to dogfight against the Zeeks, our name for the Jap fighter plane the Yanks call them Zeros. After flight training, it was straight into action for us, flying with the US Marines 13th Air Division. US Marine pilots, there was no time to spare, for we had to stop the Japs before they stopped us. This was war. Their fighters were faster than ours, but we could outfly them. I was assigned to the US Enterprise CV-6, while my good mates Jack and Trevor were assigned to the USS Yorktown, the CV-5. I will always remember my first carrier landing on the Big E. I nearly didn't make it. The water was rough and the flight deck moved around, but with encouragement from my fellow Americans, I touched down in one piece. What a relief. After that, my confidence was up and it was no problem. I flew an F-4F Wildcat, my new baby, I called her, and soon I was in the thick of action. Along with Yank Marine pilots, we duelled the Jap Zeeks in dogfights, flew fighter escort missions for the Catalina scout planes, and engaged in aerial combat in the Battle of the Coral Sea and in all Pacific aerial actions, including the Battle of Midway. The Big E lived up to her title, hero ship. She was a great ship. Her crew and pilots were so well trained. What pride and bravery from everyone in her crew in the face of attacks from the Japs. Duke Cunningham and Sweetley Astor were no doubt top guns, and we always ensured that we flew together with his great wolf pack against the Japanese carrier Soryu, S-O-R-Y-U, escorted by the US torpedo SDB-111 Dauntless in Operation M1. I had many close calls in these actions. One time a Japanese torpedo bomber exploded at a point where our wolf pack was no more than 500 feet from this plane. The shrapnel dented my aircraft, and I thought no more about this, as I was okay. The Japanese pilot had blown himself up in his plane rather than be shot down by us. My nickname text came from Tokyo Rose herself, the infamous Japanese-American propagandist who broadcast popular American music, along with her anti-Yank propaganda. On some occasions I would sing cowboy songs my dad taught me, such as A Dying Cowboy and The Streets of Old Laredo. Tokyo Rose listened to my songs over the airwaves. Text, she would say, "You are still with us, for we enjoy the singing, but we will drop you like a stone along with your friends. 10,000 Zeros are on their way to shoot down the complete American task force." We would jam her broadcast, but not until we had our daily laugh listening to them. What great entertainment. I did fly in the Battle of Midway because I fell victim to a freak accident a few days during the battle. I was speared by a forklift blade as I climbed down from my plane, goring my upper left thigh and almost spinning me to my plane with one of the forks. I couldn't fly with this injury, so I did my part during the Battle of Midway by fitting the fuses in the 500-pound bobs ready to go up the carrier lift to the flight deck. Bombs that were sorely needed by the brave pilots who still flying in the battle raged on. Wounded or not, everybody had a job to do. There was no time to feel sorry for yourself. It was survival. Many brave pilots, American and Australian alike, who flew off aircraft carriers during the battle in the Pacific, lost their lives. Some ran out of fuel and had a ditch. But to my never-ending sorrow, my very best Australian mates and fellow pilots, Trevor, Green and Jack Heggie, were among them. After surviving the sinking of the Yorktown in the Battle of Midway, they were shot down in the Battle of Iwo Jima several months before the end of the war. By then, I was out of the war on R&R and back home in Australia and adjusting to my life. To this day, I anguish over their loss. Notwithstanding, I was sent to Bankstown Fighter Base under General MacArthur and trained young flying cadets how to outmaneuver the Zeros. In total, I shot down 5 Zeros in the Battle of Midway and the Battle of the Coral Sea from the CV-6 Enterprise. Therefore, it is a great honour that I make this donation of 3,000 Australian dollars to the US Midway Veterans Association and the USS Midway Museum for the building and preservation of the Battle of Midway Experience Theatre. I make this donation in the name of Trevor Green and Jack Heggie, two of the bravest pilots and best mates I've ever known. Thank you for listening to my story. One day, I hope to travel to San Diego and to see the great Midway Museum and the Midway Theatre that is on aboard her. We lived the adventure and Midway. Proud to be an American. God bless America. Adios, amigo.